the CVFabrication intercooler for the 25 Explorer ST. Now, the results, they speak for themselves. The consistency on the 0 to 60 times got a ton better with that intercooler installed, and the intake air temps were well within a great operating range, especially out for this weather today. What's going on, Team Lethal fans? It's Joe here with Lethal Performance. Today, as you can see, we've got a package out here on the table from our friends over at CVFabrication, specifically for our 2025 Explorer ST owners out there. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and crack the box open and show you guys what CVFab sent us out today. Ooh, stickers! Now that it's out on the table, you can clearly see what CVFab sent us out. They went ahead and sent us their performance intercooler for the 2025 Explorer ST. Now they do, of course, have intercoolers for the 2020 to 2024 Explorer ST. However, there was a slight change in the 25 and up model years, so they went ahead and had to re-engineer their intercooler just a little bit to make it fit perfectly. Now, as you can see, also out here on the table is going to be some of these brackets here and some additional hardware here to install this intercooler on your Explorer ST. However, this is still considered a direct bolt-on replacement for the stock intercooler because there is no other modifications needed to install this onto your car other than these two brackets here and some of that hardware. Now, at the current time that I'm filming this video, this is the only intercooler available in the aftermarket for the 2025 Explorer STs. However, I will make the note that technically the 2020 to 2024 intercoolers will physically fit in the same spot. It is the flanges on the intercooler pipes that are different. So if you do have a set of 2020 to 2024 charge pipes, those will fit on a 2025 model year along with a 2020 to 2024 intercooler. But if you guys aren't planning on changing your charge pipes and simply just want the effects of the intercooler, this is going to be the unit for you. Now, why would you want to upgrade the intercooler in your Explorer ST or really any EcoBoost vehicle for that matter? Well, the biggest killer in performance in pretty much any EcoBoost vehicle is going to be charge air temperatures. And basically what that is the air temperature after it exits the intercooler and moves toward your throttle body and intake manifold. Basically, if the air coming out of the intercooler is on the higher side of things, we're talking, north of 130, 140, there basically isn't going to be the same amount of oxygen simply because the molecules are larger in that air versus air that's, let's just say 100 degrees or even cooler when we get into the winter times here, maybe in the 50s or 60s on a really cool day. That's why your car runs so good when you have a nice cool day, you get really nice fresh air, and all that air, because the molecules are smaller, because it's colder, is packed with way more oxygen than, of course, your hot air is going to be. That's why the intercooler is such a crucial piece in a turbocharged vehicle because it cools that air, allowing for more oxygen to hit that throttle body and hit that intake manifold so that you can produce more power. Now, during CVFab's testing, when they originally came out with these intercoolers for the 2020 Explorer STs, they found over an 80-degree difference between the stock intercooler and their intercooler. 80 degrees cooler, of course, with the CVFabrication intercooler. Now, that cooler charged air temperature results in a big power change. We're talking upwards of up to 40 to 50 horsepower, depending on the other conditions that go on with the vehicle. But with that cooler air being thrown into the mix, you have the ability to have better timing for better fuel, and ultimately you are able to make the full power that your truck is made to make. However, when you start talking IET temps past the 150-degree mark, you're talking about some major timing cuts and some major power cuts, which, let's be honest, none of us want. And that's on a completely stock vehicle. So we're talking a stock vehicle, stock intercooler is going to be, give or take, about 80 degrees hotter than it can be with the CVFabrication on that same stock vehicle, which is hard to imagine, but when you see the size difference between this intercooler and the stock one, it kind of starts to make a little bit more sense. So how does CVFabrication keep those charge air temps in check? Well, if it isn't already obvious, the intercooler is more than double the size of the stock intercooler. We're talking a 214% volume increase, so you're getting not only double the cooling surface, you're also getting more of that cooling surface being stretched out over the entire unit versus that tiny little intercooler that they have stock from the factory. And to add on to it, you have these high flow cast end tanks here, which of course are going to help increase the airflow efficiency throughout the entire unit. The intercoolers are all TIG welded with a bar and plate construction, and of course are backed by CVFabrication's lifetime warranty. As far as customization goes, the intercoolers are available in a silver finish like you see here, or if you're looking for something a little bit more hidden in that grill area, they are available in a black finish for a real nice stealthy look. There also is an option to add on their stencil, which allows you to have their logo on the front of the intercooler here. However, I do think it is nice that they made that optional so that not every intercooler has their logo on it in case that's not something you want to present on your car. So now that we've taken a look at CVFab's performance intercooler for the 25 Explorer ST, let's go ahead and show you guys how to get it installed on your 25 Explorer ST. So now that we're out here with our 25 Explorer ST, we can do a little bit of stock 0 to 60 Draggy testing just to give you guys a little bit of a comparison before and after the intercooler. Now, as the ST sits right now, it is mostly stock. However, it does have a couple things that may affect the performance of it compared to a completely stock Explorer ST. We're talking some CVFab intakes and an AWE catback exhaust. However, everything else apart from wheels and tires is untouched on this vehicle, so it should bring out some similar to stock performance. However, it may be a little bit better with those CVFab and AWE components. But as long as that's kept in mind, let's go ahead and do some 0 to 60 Draggy testing while the truck is still mostly stock. Now, while we're doing our 0 to 60 testing here, we also have the VCM scanner up here on this display, which you guys can't see, it's off screen. But what we have up here is a nice data log going, showing our charge air temps. We're also showing our intake air temps, and then a couple other different things here that are basically going to give us some insight on how well this intercooler is performing on this vehicle. Now, while we do our 0 to 60 and as the times ultimately start to go up as everything gets hotter, we are going to see what the air intake temps are looking like and see that correlation in real time thanks to HP Tuner's VCM scanner. So let's go ahead and do our 0 to 60 testing here and see how these results correlate to the times. Right now, just doing a steady cruise here, we're looking at roughly about 109 right now, 111. Let's hope that CVFab intercooler can help change that around a bit. Now, I will say it's a 91-degree day. I mean, that's no joke, especially everything under that engine bay there is getting pretty toasty right now. It's getting some decent airflow through it at 34, 35 miles an hour here. So honestly, it's not, not the worst thing I've seen. It's definitely still within its correct parameters, but I'm hoping to definitely see some better numbers there. All right, so we're in sport mode right now. Got everything all the same. Let's go ahead and start here. Give a little bit of a brake boost. And there's 60, so we'll back off. See what that's looking like. It's a 5.81. We'll do about the same amount of brake boost here. There's 60 right there. Let's see what that one was. That was a 6 flat? Yeah, that's a 6. So we went from a 5.8 to a 6 flat. You know, not giving it any time to really cool down or keep good with those, get those charge temps all nice and happy. So we'll go ahead and do one more here. There's 60. That was a 5.6. Random 5.6. Okay. So, all over the board with consistency with this truck. Obviously, we have driving it more. It's going to get more of that cool air through it. So now that we've done some Draggy testing here in the real world, I mean, we're talking 90-degree day, like I said, with the stock intercooler and the stock tune. Let's go ahead and get that CVFabrication intercooler installed on this 25 Explorer ST. So now that we've done our 0 to 60 testing with the truck as it sits right now with the CVFab intake and the AWE exhaust, let's go ahead and get the CVFabrication intercooler installed here at WBA Performance and then do some more testing with the new intercooler.
53 hours.
So now with the intercooler installed, we've been driving around now. The truck is still on the stock tune. Taking a look at the temperatures here through the VCM scanner. Let's see here what we got. We're looking at 90 degrees. So it's actually cooler after it goes through the intercooler than it is from the intake, which on a hot day like this is very nice to have. So we'll go ahead, get up here, do a couple test hits here, see what we can do. And see if we can do something to make that intake air temp skyrocket here. But with that intercooler, it's going to be something that's going to take a lot of effort. Not obviously trying to get them to rise, but I'm going to just do some driving that, you know, let's just say a spirited driver would do. Yeah, that was 562. Not bad. That's about what we were getting before. Let's see what IATs are. IATs are still looking really good right now. Let's go ahead and do one more here. All right, that was looking good. IATs, yeah, it's working really well. Let's see what that time was. That was, let's see if that was consistent. Yeah, 5.6, 5.7. So give or take semi-consistent times here. We'll go ahead, flip back around here, see what we can do. All right, and that was another 5.69. So the consistency already with the intercooler is almost dead on. I mean, we're 0.1 off. I did one back-to-back one. We got 5.6, 5.7, and then now back to another 5.6 after just a small amount of cooling down. I mean, literally just enough time to turn around on our closed course here. Comparatively to yesterday, where we were seeing air intake temps up to 120, which is going to kill a lot of power. We were getting some 0 to 60 times yesterday. I believe we got up to about 5.8, 5.9. So, I mean, we're definitely getting much better, more consistent times just with an intercooler alone. Obviously, if you plan on running your car harder, let's just say on the highway or possibly even on a track, like a road course or something like that, this intercooler is going to keep your IATs cool and consistent. It's going to allow for some better airflow, so you may see some better power out of it. However, the most important thing is that it keeps the air cool so that the power that it does make is consistent regardless of what temperature and how hot things get. So with that being said, guys, we're gonna go ahead and finish it up here. And of course, in another video, we're gonna show you guys ZFG's tune for these trucks and of course show you the differences between the 0 to 60 runs completely stock and the runs with the ZFG tune. And that is gonna do it, guys. That was the CVFabrication intercooler for the 25 Explorer ST. Now, the results, they speak for themselves. The consistency on the 0 to 60 times got a ton better with that intercooler installed, and the intake air temps were well within a great operating range, especially out for this weather today, which again is South Florida in the middle of the summer. Nasty, muggy, hot, 90-degree days. Overall, the intercooler does exactly what it's supposed to do and replaces that, let's be honest, really wimpy stock intercooler. Now, with a tune that will be installed soon on this from ZFG Racing, it's really going to show that full effect of that intercooler and why you're going to want this upgrade for your Explorer ST, simply because you're going to be pushing a lot more boost with that tune, which more boost equals more heat, and that stock intercooler wasn't gonna cut it, even with the stock tune. So if you guys have any questions or you wanna grab an intercooler from CVFabrications for yourself, feel free to check them out in the links in our description. Drop a comment below or reach out with us by phone at 561-753-8105 or by email at support@lethalperformance.com. This has been Joe with Lethal Performance, and I'm out of here.